Yo, what's up, creepers and geekers? Chris the Atari Creep. Welcome back to the Hasbro Bladebuilders Kylo Ren Lightsaber mod doohickey thingamabobby. So this is where we stand so far before we get to any more work. I did finally glue this in. I ended up using super glue and not epoxy as planned, and it worked out just fine. I was able to seat it in there and seal up where was my concern, right here, and obviously on the other side. Just using a little bit of glue and a vice grip, and I think I got it on straight. I don't know. We'll see. So I'm happy with that so far. I actually threw it across the room gently to see if it would just pop apart because it is kind of pressure fitted as well as glued, but it stayed together, and we're groovy there. Now the other thing I needed to get working on was the bottom here, so I can get this to seat in it. And I wasn't really concerned about it. I knew I'd figure something out, but I didn't want to just leave a little flat piece in there and just make it boring because there's so much texture and busyness going on here. And seeing as I'm using Coke bottle caps for the vent emitters, I just for fun wanted to see if this would even fit in there. And bam, it seats perfectly. I think that looks pretty cool. I mean, once you paint it up, it'll look all right. But more importantly, this fits in there perfectly too. There's very little wiggle room, so what I'm going to probably do is just seat it in some 5-minute epoxy, and probably inside the red cap, fill the sides with a little bit of hot glue just to give it a buffer so it doesn't move around. And I got to watch the actual prop, not through the viewfinder. And it should go together. It went together just fine earlier. The last 15 takes I did of this. But yeah, it seats on there just fine. Obviously, it won't be loose. Now, there is a small gap here, and I'm going to assume it has nothing to do with this cap. It really doesn't, because this doesn't clear that far. It's mainly, I guess, the way I pulled it apart, but I kind of like the gap. So I'm going to leave the gap, and I'm just going to thread in some copper wire, just to give this more of a half-assed, haphazard, put-together thingy-mabobby. So I'm happy that that's going to work out. So what we got to do is I got to seat this in here with glue, get this piece in there, and then we'll worry about the rest of it later as far as the handle and the hilt and the pommel's concerned. I did finally get these hollowed out, and they work perfectly. I did a couple of test fits with these, and it does. I don't want to take this apart just yet, just to show you. Maybe I should have been a little more prepared for this video, but fuck it, whatever. I got these down to about the same size. They're a little shorter than half of the 5 inches each. But it just looked a little too long. I just lopped it off, and now I've just been using a sanding block to try to level them together. I still got a little bit of work to do, but aside from that, I'm happy with the way these are coming out. Just on another side note, I'm not really happy with the way these are working out. I did clip off the little sides here, and I know I have some trimming and cleaning up to do here, but they're not really universal. So I think melding them together is not going to look as good unless I can come up with some kind of idea for a transition. But that's just the way things go sometimes. I'm thinking about scrapping them now, and in 10 minutes after this video is over, they could go on there and, whatever. So this is what I'm really concerned about today. On top of getting that together, this thing. I need to fill this somehow, so when you hold this thing, not that many people will, but if they look down here, it just doesn't look like a hollow piece of plastic. So a lot of times what I feel is good to do with these little mods and props, don't overthink what you're working on. If an idea pops in your head, go with it, see if it works, and usually you can build off of that from there, because other ideas will come up that you weren't thinking of originally because you weren't using your original plan. Hence, these things. So, shh, don't tell her. Me and the missus got together and cleaned up the kids' toy room, and this is just a random piece of gate or plastic that went into the trash bag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip all these little bars off of it. And if you look inside a Kylo Saber, there are ribs inside. They're more square, and they're filed at an angle. So I think to start with, I'm going to glue some in here, actually into this piece. I'm not going to do it in the cap. Actually, maybe I should pull it apart. Just literally in this rim here, this little ridge. And work from there. Maybe that'll give me another idea as far as where to go with this. But so I'm just going to basically use some Gorilla Super Glue. This is always my go-to. Get a whole bunch of them in there, make sure they're nice and level. And then I'm going to angle them in just slightly to give it a little more something interesting. And then worry about something for in here to bridge, the gap later on. So let's get to all that, and I'll show you where we are from there. Okie dokie. I got those cut and glued in there, just using regular super glue, and I'm kind of happy with the way they came out. I purposely didn't want them to look perfect. I know some OCD folks are going, oh my God, they're not evenly, but some of it was by design, some of it was just how it seated in there. You don't have much time to work with super glue, but I got them in there, and looks okay. I do plan on going in there with a Dremel and angling these all inward a little bit. Not too much, just enough to give it a little bit more character. So now we got to worry about this little void here. And if you recall in my initial video, I brought this up and said, I probably won't use that. I want to use that for something else. I'm going to use this. Only because I know it fits perfectly and it's got an interesting look to it. And with a little bit of paint, I'm probably just going to do it black first. And then maybe, some kind of a silver on the rings. And then these little spines, I guess you'll call them. A copper color or something. Something similar I did with my Obi-Wan Kenobi saber. But yeah, it's basically a wheel for, I think, sliding doors for closets. They come in 2 packs. I don't know where the second one went, but I thought it looked interesting. So I hung on to it, and we're finally going to use it. And to fill this little hole here, I got this little nifty little dealio. I don't know what it came off of. Some toy somewhere that we probably threw away. And me being me, I was like, oh, no, I want that little piece. And it just so happens that it fits in here perfectly. Maybe a little bit of hot glue in here just to secure it, but it's solid. I probably don't even have to do that, but I'm going to anyway, just for, good measure. So let me put the top of this together real quick so you can kind of get an idea what it might look like. All right, so here it is somewhat together. The cool thing about it is it fits just snug enough where I can come in here with my thumb, or my finger rather, and get it to seat perfectly. And I think it looks good. With a little bit of paint, that's going to add a lot of character to the thing. The lighting in here sucks, so I have the stupid camera light on. So that's why it looks a little goofy, but I'm happy with that so far. Let me turn the light off. And we got this secured. Hindsight, I probably should have painted the cap first because there is a little bit of a gap there, and it's going to be tough making them look like separate pieces when painting. But, you learn as you go, and we'll figure it out. But, I was going to use 2-part epoxy, 5-minute epoxy, but I literally just filled the cap full of hot glue and secured it in there, and it ain't coming apart. So, and then I, just for extra measure, put a little dab in between each one of these ribs. So that's where we're at with those. So now I guess I need to start worrying about these and getting them to look nice on the side of here with these bad boys, and then figure out if in fact I am going to use these or not. I don't know. This is where it's going to start getting tricky because I'm going to paint this thing somewhat separately. I don't want to get any paint on this part here. So I'm going to have to paint that separately and then secure it together once we're somewhat finished with some of the paint work. But again, we'll figure that out as we go. So let me stop the video here and get working on this, and hopefully in the next day or so it'll be ready for paint and display. Hey guys, real quickly before I gotta go pick up the kids from school, I put this thing, let me get some light on it. Not that the light's gonna make it look better. I painted up the little pieces and I secured them together with some hot glue. And if you look right down the center, it kind of gives it kind of a lens look. I think that looks cool. That's kind of a complete accident. That's a very happy one. But I gave it a preliminary paint job, and then I did glue it into here with hot glue, and then I super glued the body of it together. I know I wasn't going to go that direction just yet, but I said, fuck it, whatever. I did not secure the cap here. So the cap's only here holding it together while the glue sets, which is probably good enough now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the cap off before I spray the body, put some painter's tape underneath it, and then put it on there. Spray everything, pull it off, do the tape and all that crap, put it back on, and then do the hand detailing from there. So I know it's kind of a half-assed backwards way to do it, but that's how I decided to go with it. So now we got to secure these to the side of the vents. So it just so happens that the size of these fit perfectly inside here. I don't know if I mentioned that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop those on there, not glue it just yet. And then use that as kind of a template to hold these in place while I glue it. And hopefully these won't glue to it too. But we're going to get that going. But that's enough for this one video. That's really all I wanted to show so far. Plus, again, I'm going to have the kids here in a minute. Tomorrow, there's going to be a big snowstorm, so there's a good chance I'll have time to work on it more and figure out what I'm going to do as far as, say, like with those and getting it all together. So we're almost in the final stretch, guys. So as always, thanks for watching. I really appreciate that and the positive feedback. And that's it. Until next time, guys, take care and bye-bye. Hey, what's up, folks? The Creep here. Thank you, as always, so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe for more. You can follow The Creep on social media, and feel free to reach out at any time here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Creep would love to hear from you. And as always, thank you, take care, and bye-bye.